During lockdown, I'm sure we've had all sorts of things to be spending our time on, between video games, binging TV, reading, chores, panicking, watching the news, whatever. We've had a lot of extra time on our hands on a global scale that is pretty much unprecedented. And I've been spending my time really pouring a lot of effort into learning the guitar. I've decided, I'm never going to make money on guitar. It's never going to be a career path. I'm never going to be famous. Nobody's ever going to listen to my music in a serious way. But I've decided that I love it enough that I can just be an amateur, that as far as I know, I've got decades to get good at it and enjoy it for my own sake. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't need to be famous, right? And so during my lockdown, I've been able to learn the guitar a little bit, practice some music I've never done, and actually build some skill and see improvement. Even though I can't play that song that I performed for you, I can't play it all the way through without stuttering, even after spending 12 hours on about a 2-minute piece that I shortened for you guys. 1 Timothy 4:8 is a really interesting verse. It says, "For physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for the present and for the life to come." Thankfully, I have a hobby that's slightly more productive than just watching TV or video games, and trust me, I do those things too. But I really like the fact that this verse at once affirms that we can enjoy things, that we can build skills in things that are a little less than important, a little less than vital, but it also limits those things, and it says, well, how much does it really matter that you're great at this? Is that really what you want to define your life and identity off of? Is some skill that doesn't really have much meaning for this life and definitely not much meaning for the next? If we're Christians or even curious about an all-powerful, all-loving God, and if we've had all this time and we've still not cracked open our Bibles, we've still not made a habit about prayer, seeking evidence for Jesus, or building a relationship through him, with him through reading your scripture every day, if not now, it may not ever happen, right? If you have all the time in the world from a global pandemic and you're not looking into scripture, when are you going to be less busy than now, right? Probably won't happen. Jesus wants to build a sense of intimacy with you, a relationship with you, but it turns out we're the people sort of holding back our end of the equation. He's there, he's given us his word, he's given us his son. And so if there's a lack of intimacy in our life, it's our fault, right? And so lockdown's not over for a lot of us, and it might happen again, which would be a serious bummer. It'd be some bad news. But this is a time that God can be building us into godly people, into curious people if we're skeptics. And I've got a really cool verse for us in Psalm 112. I'm going to be in verse 4. Even in darkness, light dawns for the upright, for those who are gracious and compassionate and righteous. Good will come to those who are generous and lend freely, who conduct their affairs with justice. Surely the righteous will never be shaken. They will be remembered forever. They will have no fear of bad news. Their hearts are steadfast, trusting in the Lord. No fear of bad news is a pretty incredible characteristic these days. And a walk with God that is sincere and intimate and consistent can get us that. No fear of bad news because our hearts are steadfast to God. We can be generous no matter how scary things look, because we know where our security really lies, and that's in God. So I'd encourage you, whether you're building those Fortnite skills or you're learning how to bake sourdough bread, make time with God a priority now, so that while you have all this time to build those habits, that you can have that strengthened and growing now, so that when life gets back to normal someday, we'll be godly and ready for this life and the next to come.